Yeah, ma'am. So these are the things. Yeah. Last class we have seen up to Khilafat movement. Vikramji, directly we are coming to now topic what we left. Khilafat movement we have seen. What is the impact of Khilafat movement? What is the main cause for the Khilafat movement? The end of World War One. As last time also a few answers you told that there are two division and how they gave punishment to the Turkey Sultan. They removed the title of Turkey Sultan was none other than Khalifa. Against that, how it was echoed in everywhere. All the Muslim leaders they went throughout the world. So also in India, as in India also had the Muslim leaders, and this Muslim leader, they able to get the support from. Positive thing was that both Indian National Congress as well from gandhiji and the All India Muslims, they created the agitation against the Indian British government against the removal of the Khilafat. As a result, this Khilafat movement a little bit more delegations. They made different Ali brothers, the great contribution of the Ali brothers. We can see along with that they made the Khilafat committee 1920. Okay. Similarly, the Khilafat day was observed on 19th March 1920. That also we have seen that, and between 1921 to 19 yeah, in 1920 between 21st to 23rd March they passed one resolution, and they try to spread this committee in rural also. Such type of lot of development we able to see under this Khilafat movement. Like in India, they created the two organ or two committee we can see. Two committee we can see. Oh no. Yeah, two committee we can see. One was the All India Khilafat Committee. Another was the Jamaat Al Ulma Hind. Jamaat Al Ulma Hind. Such type of two Muslim committees they were created in India, and with that help of that committee, they try to start the agitation that we have seen. Okay, so it was a good response, and they made a different type of meetings, different time, including the Delhi, and so many leaders are there. First All India Khilafat conference was held in Lucknow. Somewhere we are getting that. Yeah, Chandrarao, roll number 5th.
Charan, sir.
Yeah. Charan ji, no?
Yeah, he's from our school.
Muting.
Yeah.
Mute.
Please mute yourself, Charan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen carefully.
So we have seen that. Yeah. Charan knew, no?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yesterday,
Okay,
he's from
okay,
our
Charan.
school, 5th standard.
Okay, okay, Charan. Once you follow the class, we are discussing Indian national movement, Khilafat movement. So you just follow the class today. Remain part I'll explain later on. You just follow how the Khilafat movement starts and going on, right? Please follow that. Okay. In the meantime,
So your voice is break.
plan. Sorry. So, plan action. The second All India Khilafat conference was held in Delhi, 23rd to 24th. So all the plans they made to, how to protect and how to keep the benefit of all the Muslims. So that was the main plan. It able to get all India's support and national solidarity we able to get with this. So this was the movement. What was the most significant? If you see the most significant of this Khilafat movement, we can say that it able to bring the unity between three things. One is the Muslims, because the British government had a great policy to divide and rule. Most of the time they try to divide between the Hindus and the Muslim, and they try to rule that. But this is the platform which able to bring unite among these Hindus, Muslims, and even Gandhi's concept. So it was given one of the solidarity to bring good platform which helpful in future Even we made one great revolution also, that is a non-cooperation movement, we can say. In that also we got until 1930. After 1930, the Muslim League and all these were formed, and they had little bit different concept. But until 1930, these all activities, especially this Khilafat movement and the Ali brothers effort and the Hindu-Muslim unity, they had a good result, we can say. So that was one of the greatest opportunity to make ourselves unite with the Hindus, right? So Hindu and Muslim unite, right? So this was one of the greatest achievement, we can say. Anyhow, the Khilafat movement continued. We can continue it till civil disobedience movement. But in the meantime, what happened? Khilafat movement. After the Khilafat movement, 19 it was continued. So let me see how it was ended. It was merged with non-cooperation movement. Now we are moving toward the non-cooperation movement. Gandhiji's first attempt to declare non-cooperation movement, one of the greatest achievement, we can say, non-cooperation movement. So now we can see cooperation to non-cooperation. Till 1919, we gave full support to the British government, I can say, right? How we gave full support to the British government? Because the British government, when they came 1600, from 1600 to till 1919, they got full support from Indians, every level of the, it may be the bureaucrats, it may be the Indian leaders, it may be the Indian peasants, it may be the farmers, whoever, whatever the policy, whatever the, yeah, whatever the requirement, whatever the requirement, Indian supported to the Britishers. But a small incident happened. We know that in 1914, when the Congress, when the World War One started, during this World War One, as we know that India gave the support to the Britishers in the World War One. During after the World War One, they wanted to give some reforms. We got the reform also. I hope the reform was popularly called as two reforms. We got diarchy. Number one is a diarchy. Another one is related to, they gave along with the diarchy a Rowlatt Act. I hope you know the Rowlatt Act. So let us a little bit focus on the Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act 1919 implemented. What was the main cause for the implementation of Rowlatt Act? If you'll see, the British able to find there was a very closeness between the Hindus and the Muslims. The Indians, they unable to follow the policy which was implemented, trying to implement by the British. May know the policy? Yeah, divide and rule policy. Main intention of British were to divide India between the religion and to rule. But here, the Khilafat movement helpful to unite the Hindus and the Muslims. That's why what did they do? Once again, to implement vigorous step and all this, the British government empowered to the local police. And that was given under the policy called Rowlatt Act. What was the Rowlatt Act? Police can arrest any of the Indians out of suspect. Try to remember. Police can arrest any of the Indians out of suspect. What do you mean by out of suspect? Without doing any crime also. British, without out of suspect. If someone, Mr. X or Y, British police is British police realize that he may be the culprit, then police has the power to arrest. And after arrest also, without sending them to the nearby magistrate court, police can directly send them to a jail for minimum of 2 years. Basically, in our India, or if you'll see Indian civil or the criminal policy, police has only the right to arrest. Police has no power to give punishment. So police cannot send to jail. Police has to arrest to the arrestee. Police has to send the arrestee nearby the court within 24 hours. That is the police system. But they violated the system. Instead of handing over to nearby magistrate or the court, the police was given immense power, and they can send to that jail directly. So that was opposed. And based upon this Rowlatt Act, everywhere they created completely terror. We can say the tyranny of the police started with the help of this Rowlatt Act. I hope you understood what is the Rowlatt Act, right? So based upon this Toilet Act, everywhere they implemented. Let us come to Punjab. In the Punjab, there was a good leadership, and so many leaders were there. So based upon the Toilet Act, what happened here? Now Punjab, they implemented the Toilet Act. Uh, that is one of the cause. Along with this Toilet Act, what are the other causes which forced Gandhiji for the implementation of non-cooperation movement? Along with that, we can see there are several other causes. First of all, we can see the war. They punished with the Rowlatt. Secondly, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Yeah, after the Rowlatt Act, let me come to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What is this Jallianwala Bagh massacre? Jallianwala is a small garden. Based upon the Rowlatt Act, please note down the points also. In Punjab National Congress, two leaders were there, Saifuddin Kichlu and Prafulla Chaki. Try to remember Saifuddin Kichlu and Prafulla Chaki, the prominent Congress leaders of that north. They were arrested and kept in the jail. Due to that arrest of Saifuddin Kichlu and Prafulla Chaki and Satyapal also, these are the leaders, prominent leaders. Then the Indian National Congress wanted to agitate against the arbitrary arrest of all these leaders. For that purpose, what did they do? They fixed one day, that was none other than 13th April 1919, because that was the Vaisakhi day. And they wanted to make their protest, they wanted to show their protest against the arbitrary arrest, right? That was Vaisakhi day and festival day. They wanted to make the festival as well as the protest. These are the, but British government unable to digest that. Now British government when came to know that people are gathering, they declared the martial law. Martial law. So by the time martial law, now it is called as a 144 Act. So as British present government, present police is implementing the 144 Act, means more crowd we cannot gather. So by that time that was called as the martial law. So they imposed the martial law. Unfortunately, there was no bigger communication and all this. So people unaware about the martial law as a pre-planned, pre-fixed. So they gathered in that Jallianwala Bagh as they pre-planned. But the British government handed over this Jallianwala Bagh issue one of the notorious police officer, okay, General O. Dyer. And General O. Dyer with his platoon they came, and then they out of the 10 gates were out of the 10 gates in the Jallianwala Bagh, they they closed almost all except one or two gates. Then this General O'Dare, he gave few minutes of time to vacate the ground. Unfortunately, in that ground on that day, due to the festival, motive, so many young leaders, we can say the old, new, and small children, everyone, they were gathered and they unable to evacuate the ground within the stipulated time. And this General O'Dyer, he started firing till the last bullet of the regiment. Unfortunately, near about 900 plus, 900 plus leaders, people, including the child, women, old people, they were shot dead under the gunpoint, and few were to save their life, jump into a well which was there in that. Such type of unhuman activity they did in that day. And that day was recorded as a black day, right? In the history of Indian nationalism, or we can say. But that was completely ignored by the British government. That was a major problem. They did not say the true number and all this. For Indians, it was a great day for the protesting Black Day. Okay. So it gave a great pain to Gandhiji. That day was called as a Black Day in the history of Indian nationalism. And Indian historians in some places, they have written this incident as a human sacrifice, that massacre, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. They killed the people as like the animal. That word massacre was used by the historians. So this was the Balabag massacre. Due to this, now Gandhiji, if you will see Gandhiji, you know that after his completion education, okay, keep the Jallianwala incident. These many people were dead. Let us focus little bit about Gandhiji. Gandhiji, if you see Gandhiji, he completed his education, went to London. There he completed his higher education. Then he went to the South Africa for the practice. In South Africa, Gandhiji was a victim of one of the incident that was popularly called as apartheid. Apartheid. I hope you are understanding apartheid, Vikramji. So that the racial discrimination between white and non-white. The policy of any idea now, Vikramji? Apartheid.
Sir, no, sir.
Apartheid, it is a policy followed in South Africa between white and non-white. White means the British, non-white means the black people, even we Indians also. Wherever the British visited, they implemented the policy of apartheid, racial discrimination. I hope this word you know that racial. They felt that we are the Britishers. They felt that we are the superior, other people are the inferior or the barbarians. It is our responsibility to make them educated. Such type of feeling, they spread the imperialism. So that feeling, discrimination between white and non-white was called as apartheid. In South Africa, Gandhiji was a victim of apartheid, right? Even though he was a literate, educated lawyer, but he was not allowed to put signature any of the document and all this. A huge insult that was because he was non-white. Non-white means is the black people, but we should not use that word black people. Instead of that, non-white we can say, right? So that was another one popular incident. I hope you might have know that that was none other than yeah, Gandhiji visited in the South Africa with a first class train ticket. Yeah, this is welcome. So in that first class train ticket, when yeah, uh, Vikramji went. Aditiji, we are continuing with the non-cooperation movement. Please follow it, right? So when he had Gandhiji had the first class ticket, but he was not allowed to visit. As a result, he was thrown all that from the train. So that was also another symptom of apartheid. We are discussing how Gandhiji faced the discrimination, right? Okay, Vikramji, now okay. Apartheid understood.
Yes, sir. Sir, I understood
Uh,
was meant by
yeah,
racial
can
discrimination. So you said that's the same.
yeah, racial discrimination or discrimination between white and the non-white. As Gandhiji also faced that problem, so he raised his voice for the first time in South Africa. In South Africa, they made in South African Indian National Congress also one branch they started. By doing all these activity in 1916, Gandhiji returned back. 1914, no, 1915, Gandhiji returned back to from South Africa to India. Then Gandhiji in 1909 released one book called Hind Swaraj. Hind Swaraj. In that book, Gandhiji has written so many things. One of the principle also Gandhiji has mentioned in that Hind Swaraj, and the principle was none other than he mentioned two important weapons. They were none other than, of course, we can use the word weapon because they are very strong, very simple, and very strong. They were none other than ahimsa and satyagraha. Ahimsa and satyagraha, non-violence and truth, adherence to truth. And with that weapons, Gandhiji utilized in India. Okay, so now Gandhiji came to India from South Africa and he went to Sabarmati. Immediately, no one knows Gandhiji. Let us know how Gandhiji became more popular. In India, after returning from South Africa, three incidents made Gandhiji more popular in India. Number one, if you'll see, it was none other than Yeah, in Bihar, Champaran movement. In Bihar, there was a place called Champaran, and that Champaran was famous for the indigo pigeons. It was famous for indigo pigeon. Indigo, I hope you know that it is used for the use of yeah, blue. So it was very famous in Bihar, indigo. But problem was that the pigeons were not allowed to fix their price. They were suffering a huge, they unable to even minimum support price also they unable to get from their production and all this. Due to that, those pigeons, they requested Gandhiji. Some of them, they know Gandhiji. Gandhiji visited Champaran. That was 1916. In 1916, he started or utilized his weapon. That was none other than Satyagraha and ahimsa through the peaceful manner, non-violence method. By following the principle or adherence to the truth, he applied his agitation and he forced the government there to give right to fix the price of indigo to the peasants instead of the government. That was one of the first achievement of Gandhiji, we can say, Champaran indigo in Bihar. Similarly, another agitation, 1917, Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad in Gujarat, there was a textile mill. And in that textile mill, that owner, long years, near about 30, 35 years, he did not increase the wage rate. The workers in that, yeah, Ahmedabad textile mill, they came to Gandhiji. They requested Gandhiji for interference. Again, Gandhiji applied the same method, non-violence and satyagraha, and he made the agitation there. As a result, the mill owner, how achievement you see, the mill owner, he able to increase the price 35 percentage. Wage rate was increased. That is the second. Another was in the Gujarat only. That was the Kheda movement. We can say Kheda was a district in Gujarat. So first one in Bihar, Champaran. Second one is Ahmednagar or the Gandhinagar nowadays, Ahmedabad textile mill. And now we are visiting to Kheda. Kheda is one of the district. In that Kheda district, what happened? In that year 1918, 16, 17, 18, there was famine. In that famine, what happened? The local collector, in spite of famine, he forced to collect the revenue. Poor peasants, they lost their crop, unable to give the revenue. But the collector and local administration so strong that those who unable to pay, they were arrested or they were punished, forcefully taken the production. Such type of inhuman activity they did. Because of that, Gandhiji once again visited and he made the agitation and he able to that year for only that year poor peasants exempted for giving the tax. So such type of great non-political, these all are completely individual or personal, we can say. These are the agitation made by Gandhiji, individual. There was no relation of the politics and all this. He himself personally he visited. That's why we can say these are the early political activities of Gandhi. Because of these early political activities of Gandhiji became more popular among the people. One is in Bihar, another was in that is none other than the Ahmednagar or Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Another is in the Kheda. So Gandhi became more popular. In the meantime, we know that Khilafat movement. Gandhiji also supported the Khilafat movement, 1918, and to support the Khilafat committee. When there was meeting in Delhi conference, agitation for by the Khilafat committee. Gandhiji also part of that, but unfortunately, Gandhiji and other Indian leaders were not allowed to reach Delhi. They were arrested, sent back to India, Gujarat, Sabarmati. Now, Jallianwala Bagh. I told already Jallianwala Bagh massacre, how they killed a number of people because of the arrest of Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlu and Prafulla Chaki. So now Gandhiji got very much angry. How dare these people to kill such type of innocent people who had no contribution? Simply they gathered for the celebration of the Baishakhi. Another one is just to oppose the arbitrary arrest. They had no political agenda, no, nothing was there. Okay, it was mere a gathering, we can say. Okay, New Year gathering, we can say, instead of political activities. So, due to that, how can the British kill these many people? So Gandhiji got angry, and now in that year, they made one special, Congress session. Okay, that Congress session in the month of September, Calcutta, 1920, they called Calcutta session of Indian National Congress. In that Congress, Lala Lajpati Rai, he presided over the Congress. There, Gandhiji proposed the non-cooperation movement. But in that Calcutta, please remember, in that Calcutta session of 1920, most of the political leaders were, by the time, Indian leaders, little bit reluctant. They were not that supportive to Gandhiji's proposal. Do you know why? Because by that time, we had provincial election. I told you the British gave little bit power to us to conduct the election. So they were busy with the provincial election. So they were little bit reluctant, but Gandhi didn't agree. Once again, another session, December at Nagpur. So in 1920, the Indian National Congress met two times. One is at September 1990. Another is December 1920. Both are 1920. Okay, in 1920, some of the leaders, they fully, wholeheartedly, they supported to Gandhiji's proposal. 1920, December 1920, Nagpur. In that Nagpur session, so many leaders, Chittaranjan Das, B.C. Paul, Madan Mohan Malviya, okay, and it was carried out by the 1850, so many leaders, and mainly they accepted the program, Struggle for Swaraj. They made non-cooperation, acceptance, and they created the program for the struggle for Swaraj. It made Gandhiji to acknowledge the leader of new movement for political liberation. Okay, children. So this is what non-cooperation resolution was passed. So I hope you understood what happened here. Two things we read. One was Gandhiji. First one, he proposed the non-cooperation movement. He proposed a non-cooperation movement in Nagpur, but it was not accepted later on in the, September, Kolkata, and it was not accepted. Another in Nagpur, 1920. So the proposal was started. Then 1921, we started the non-cooperation movement. Okay, Jan 1921, non-cooperation movement started. Along with the non-cooperation movement, as I told, Indian National Congress already got the support of Muslim people. May I know what was the movement? Bikramji, Muslims. We got the support from the Muslims.
Sir?
Um, yeah, we got the support of the Muslims. What organization? In which organization we got the support of the Muslims? The
Sir,
Muslim, they were
Muslim League, sir.
no, not Muslim League. In this non-cooperation movement, 1919, in Gandhiji supported and Muslim were agitated. Which movement was that? Yeah.
Khilafat?
Yeah, Khilafat movement. Yeah. So when we started this
Yes, sir.
non-cooperation movement, yeah, that is only. When we started this non-cooperation movement in 1921 January, so this Muslim people with their Khilafat agenda, Khilafat committee, they made no. The Khilafat committee also supported to non-cooperation movement. As a result, we able to start Khilafat non-cooperation movement or non-cooperation Khilafat movement. Both Gandhiji's proposal of non-cooperation and Khilafat combinedly, these two organizations, Indian National Congress and Khilafat Committee, combinedly they started the non-cooperation movement. So the non-cooperation movement started in 1921 Jan 1920. Ma'am, 40 minutes left, just few minutes left over, ma'am. Shall we continue or again they will join?
Yeah, we will join again, sir.
Yeah, 1 minute is left over.
Yes. We'll join
Yeah.
again.
Okay, children. Sure. Okay, children. Khilafat and non-cooperation movement start. A few minutes will continue with this movement. Join again.